after they attach themselves to a murshid or a mentor or a teacher, then and only then do they take sending Salatu ala Nabi seriously. Before attaching themselves to a teacher, it's something that's considered, not even considered. Many people, because of the busyness, we give the benefit of doubt to people, right? We give people the benefit of doubt that maybe they are busy with their lives, maybe they are busy with their own scheduling, that they don't even consider this. A simple thing we can do is after our 5 times salah, just as we recite, for example, after salat al-Fajr, we have our daily adhkar, right? We begin our mornings with our adhkar. We begin our mornings after every salah, at least we have a certain portion of things that we recite. We recite istighfar, we recite the 33 times Subhanallah, 33 times Alhamdulillah, 34 times Allahu Akbar. All of us have our own set things that we recite on a daily basis. We should critically consider 100 times or whatever amount that we can handle consistently. Consistency is key, even if it's a little bit, but being consistent with it, that is what is beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So after this reminder for myself first and foremost, and then a reminder for all of us, inshallah we can begin with a reminder regarding the seerah. One thing that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, many things and everything of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam stands out. But one thing in particular that we can appreciate is, of course, the struggles that he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam experienced after receiving the responsibility of prophethood. We know that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's struggles and sacrifices are limitless. He went through a tremendous amount of struggles and challenges, sacrifices that he made. Our mother Aisha radiallahu anha, she inquired from our Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam on one occasion that, Ya Rasulullah, you have experienced many things in your life, especially after receiving prophethood, you have experienced extreme challenges and difficulties, but which one stands out? Which one stands out of all of the things that you can recall or remember? And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, of course, he confirmed to our mother Aisha radiallahu anha that Taif really stands out. Taif was extremely difficult and it was very challenging. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentioned that we know after that experience Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the malaika. Jibreel Amin came, the angel that was responsible for the mountains. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had the opportunity to sort of retaliate, even if you want to take revenge on them. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam being Nabi al-Rahmah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said that no, maybe someone from their future progeny will accept Islam and they will be believers from amongst the believers. So the sacrifices of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam are numerous. There are many sacrifices. One thing is regarding Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam abstaining from worldly pleasures. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam abstaining and staying away from worldly pleasures. We just want to highlight today that it was not forced on Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to live a life of abstinence. Rather, it was by choice of him sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to live a life of abstinence. And there are many hadith to confirm this for you and I. There are many verses in the Quran also to confirm this for us. One hadith in particular, the muhaddithun, they write that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam choosing a life of abstinence and a life of poverty was voluntary. And it was not brought upon him by force, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. In other words, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam stayed away from worldly pleasures, and he chose a life of simplicity. There are few wisdoms behind this that the muhaddithun they explain. One is that out of mercy for the weak and the poor in the ummah, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, out of mercy, we know the famous dua that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam would always make, that Allahumma ahini miskina wa amitni miskina wa ahshurni fi zumrati masakin. This was a dua that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam would make, and he would prefer to be amongst the less fortunate in society. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam also chose this life to be an example and a role model to exercise patience in difficulties. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam chose a life of luxury and riches. We know that to practice patience in difficulty, and these are far-fetched. It doesn't even come in question when a person is living in riches and luxuries. How are they going to experience poverty at any time? And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam choosing a life of simplicity is, of course, another proof that he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is a prophet. After all, if anyone needs proofs of his sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's prophethood, the simple fact that he chose this life is a proof of his prophethood, because to prove the superiority of the spiritual state of the poor patient man over the rich grateful man. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَلَا تَمُدَّنَّ عَيْنَيْكَ إِلَى مَا مَتَّعْنَا بِهِ أَزْوَاجًا مِّنْهُمْ زَهْرَةَ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا لِنَفْتِنَهُمْ فِيهِ وَرِزْقُ رَبِّكَ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى. So this life that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam chose for himself was out of, this is what I want to, at least we can take this away today, that it was by choice, it was not forced on him sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Another hadith confirms this to us. Our mother Aisha radiallahu anha, she is the narrator of this hadith. She narrates that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that, Ya Aisha, لو شئت لسارت معي جبال الذهب جاءني ملك. And an angel came, and the angel said that إن ربك يقرأ عليك السلام ويقول لك إن شئت نبيا عبدا وإن شئت نبيا ملكا. قال فنظرت إلى جبريل قال فأشار إلي أن ضع نفسك. قال فقلت نبيا عبدا. قال فكان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بعد ذلك لا يأكل متكئا. And the narration continues that يقول أكل كما يأكل العبد وأجلس كما يجلس العبد أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. This narration kind of summarizes it for all of us. That an angel came on behalf and sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The angel came and he mentioned the salam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And after conveying salam, the angel is giving Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam a choice, that your Rabb subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving you a choice, that you can either remain the remainder of your life on earth as a king prophet, or in the form of a servant prophet. So there are examples for us that there were in the past king prophets, such as Sulaiman alayhi salam, Dawood alayhi salam. They were king prophets. And then there are examples of prophets, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is blessing on all of them in the past, that they lived a life of poverty and abstinence, such as Isa alayhi salam, such as Yahya alayhi salam. So here you have two examples. One, they lived a life of luxury, Sulaiman alayhi salam, Dawood alayhi salam. And then you have an example of prophets who lived a life of poverty, Isa alayhi salam, Yahya alayhi salam. But both of these categories, these prophets were not given a choice. It was just the circumstances that they were given, that you will live a life of nobility, you will live a life of pleasure and luxury, in the case of Sulaiman alayhi salam and Dawood alayhi salam. And in the case of Isa alayhi salam and Yahya alayhi salam, they were not given a choice. Our Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam is a very special and exclusive case in which he is being given a choice. And this hadith just proves that for us, that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam was given a choice by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala how he wanted to live his life. And of course, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam chose this life for himself, and we want to take this moment to appreciate that. As a leader and as a role model for all of humanity, had Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam chose a life of a king and adopted a life of affluence, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam's example would not have been universal. If Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam opted for a life of luxury and riches and affluence, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam's life would not have been a universal example. It would have served an example only for the rich. And this would have, of course, by default excluded the weak and the poor. So by choosing this simple lifestyle, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam received and earned the admiration of not only the rich but also of the poor, thus becoming a universal example for all people, for all times. So this is where we will conclude, and again we remind ourselves that let us give ourselves an opportunity on a daily basis to appreciate some lesson from the seerah, some lesson that we can implement into our lives from the Sunnah of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to bring as many sunnah, as many practices from the life of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam into our daily lives. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us that ability. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.